All right, welcome back. And last but not least, it's time to extract the wisdom. You've done all the work. You've gone through some of the hard things. You've learned that it actually sometimes is easier than it looks or seems like in the beginning. And now it's time to get the wisdom from that. All right, welcome back. This is our final lesson together in the wisdom of the body. And I want to begin with a question. How many times in your life have you asked, how do I make this stop? How do I make this anxiety stop, the grief or fear just go away or stop? How do I stop thinking about this? Why am I still ruminating? Why can't I just get over it or move on like everyone else seems to? How do I stop feeling this? How do I get back to normal? And for many of us, this becomes the central question. When something hurts, we naturally want relief. When something feels overwhelming, we want it to end. But at some point in my own journey, something began to shift. The question slowly changed from, how do I make this stop, to what is this experience trying to teach me? And as angry as I was at that question being presented to me, that question honestly changed so much. And at first, I thought it was trying to teach me all of the patterns of someone else's narcissistic tendencies, covert narcissism, dismissive avoidance, cheating, how to spot betrayal, on and on. I was relentlessly learning as if I was earning a damn doctorate on the subject. And at first, it did help release some of the pressure valve. Knowing there was something to point my pain at did help until it didn't. Because in truth, I knew a lot of that before, and I was still bamboozled in it. It was really good. I still fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. So when I was finally willing to look at the rage and see that it wasn't actually pointed towards the person I wanted it pointed towards, it was actually pointed towards myself. This experience wasn't actually here to teach me about narcissism or covert abuse or betrayal. It was here to teach me about self-abandonment, self-love, self-care, self-betrayal, taking accountability for my part and staying after the first huge red flag of him cheating. And yet, the truth is, he was never the problem. Nobody deserves to be treated the way that some people treat people. And at the same time, I had not learned how to trust and honor my own body's intuition without self-abandonment until this guy drove the lesson home for me. I'm actually forever grateful for it now. So once I stopped fighting every emotion and started listening to it, I began discovering that emotions often contain information and frequently point towards something that needs attention. An unmet need, a forgotten boundary, an unspoken truth. Perfection isn't the goal, awareness is. And one thing I want to make clear is it's a part of ourselves asking to be seen. And I know there's so much information out there right now pointing towards the behaviors and patterns of others, narcissism, covert abuse, all of this stuff. And yes, that's educational, and yes, that helps us know. However, it doesn't get us to the important part of our own patterns. The next challenge is the wisdom rarely arrives during the peak of overwhelm. When the nervous system is flooded, survival takes priority, and this is why everything we've covered in this course comes first. Creating safety, building relationship with the body, learning to communicate with the body, expanding your capacity to remain present. Those practices create the conditions for wisdom to emerge, because once the intensity begins to settle, the body often becomes willing to reveal something deeper. Grief may reveal what truth matters. Anger may reveal a boundary that was crossed. Fear may reveal where trust has been lost. Exhaustion may reveal a need that has been ignored. Resentment may reveal a place where self-abandonment has occurred. The emotion itself is not the wisdom. The emotion is often the doorway to the wisdom. This is where many people can get stuck. Some avoid the emotion entirely, others become trapped inside it, or trapped inside trying to analyze it. Embodiment invites a third path. Feel the emotion, listen to the emotion, then become curious about what it may be trying to reveal, and allow the emotion to move through in a way that honors your body's unique design. You might curiously ask, what is this experience asking me to pay attention to? What truth have I been unwilling to acknowledge? What need is asking to be honored? If this emotion contained wisdom, what might it want me to know? Sometimes the answers come immediately. Sometimes it arrives days later. Sometimes it appears while taking a walk or through a conversation, journaling, or sitting quietly in nature. One of the greatest gifts of embodiment is realizing that difficult experiences do not have to become permanent identities. They become teachers. Sure, the experience was not enjoyable, and it most likely was unfair, and yet wisdom can emerge from the places where suffering once lived. I invite you to think about a difficult experience you've moved through in your own life. Ask yourself, what did this experience teach me about myself? What did it teach me about others and my relationship to others? What strengths emerged because of it? And you may discover that some of the qualities you value most in yourself today were forged through experiences you never would have chosen. And that realization can be incredibly powerful. Before we finish, I want to reflect on what we've explored together. In this course, you've learned some of the foundational principles of embodiment: how to create safety, how to build a relationship with the body, how to communicate with the body, how to process emotional overwhelm, how to expand your capacity, and how to listen for wisdom. For many people, these practices alone begin creating meaningful change. And there is another layer. Because while every human body follows certain universal principles, every person also has a unique way of processing life. Some people regulate through movement, others through stillness, some through creativity, others through nature, some through conversation, others solitude or journaling, music, dance, prayer, meditation, reflection. Every body has its own language, its own patterns, needs, and gifts. And understanding that unique design is where deeper SEER work begins. I remember a moment in my healing journey where I had moved through some of my life's most intense emotions, pulled myself out of the darkest of caves, only to emerge with a sense of wanting to share this new way of healing with everyone. I shared it with a dear friend, and at first, my process was helping her, until it wasn't. And she taught me the biggest lesson of them all. My way wasn't the only way. I discovered that my astrology and human design is vastly different than hers. And this is where we found the secret sauce to true embodiment and emotional release. Following the unique blueprint for you, not me, not your mother's, not anyone else's, yours. So the next stage of the journey is not learning more information. It's learning how your body specifically is wired to process emotions, build capacity, restore balance, and move through life. This is the bridge between universal embodiment principles and your personal embodiment pathway. This is why some modalities work for some and not others. Not all modalities work for everyone. Thank you for allowing me to walk beside you through the wisdom of the body. And this is not the end of the journey. This is the foundation. And whenever you're ready, I'll meet you in the next step, meeting your design.